Hey folks, Lauren Riddick, our Homes and Loans podcast, and man, we're just excited today. I've got my dear friend Dwight Price. Man, we go back a long, long way, and this guy needs no introduction. But let me just tell you, not only is he a great friend and human being, he's helped so many people. It's just an honor to be here with Dwight, and
Thank you for having me.
I mean it with all my heart, my friend. This guy has touched so many people in our community. A school teacher for many, many years. And for the last 25, been the #1 real estate partner agent in our area. And I tell you what, you couldn't have anybody better than him to represent you from that standpoint. But we're just glad to be here. And Dwight, thanks for coming, buddy.
Thank you for inviting me.
You got it, man.
I'm excited about this.
It's good
so
stuff.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you, and it's good to be seen, buddy.
I know you have always said that to me.
Yes.
It's good to be seen.
It is good to be seen. It is good to be seen. But listen, we always start off, man. Appreciate you coming through, and man, I could have read a bio 10 minutes long on all things that you've done, but just thank you for being who you are, and just like to just start off with, man, just tell us about Dwight, and maybe I don't even know where you were born, and let's just start with some of those old stories.
Have you ever heard of Gray, Tennessee?
I have.
It's between Johnson City and Kingsport.
Absolutely.
Grew up on a farm there. Did all the farm work that I don't ever want to do again.
Okay.
My dad raised pigs and chickens and cattle and tobacco and hay and corn and all that good stuff. And I was a city boy at heart from birth on, I think.
Okay.
So my goal was to get to the city. And so I started at Johnson City, moving there when I went to East Tennessee State University, got my bachelor's degree. I was a quarter away from having my degree in pre-med and decided that I wanted to teach elementary kids instead. So I did some classes in the education department and got my bachelor's degree in elementary education instead of pre-med. So no regrets there. It's been a good run. I taught in Washington County schools in Gray. I taught at the same elementary school where I attended. That was interesting, teaching with teachers who were still there, who had taught me.
Yes.
So that was a unique experience. And then I heard about Alcoa schools and how they were rated top in the state in test scores and money spent per student, teacher pay. And I don't know how long you want me to.
No, I love it. I'm just sitting here like, for one, didn't know about the farm upbringing.
Oh, okay.
Before we started, guys, Dwight and I feel like we've been connected over the years, and a lot of similarities for mortgage banking and real estate. And I've baled hay and took care of animals that way. And,
sure. So we have that in common.
We have that in common. I had no idea that we also had ETSU in common.
Did you go there?
That's where I went to school. I got my bachelor's from there.
I did not know that.
My dad went there, played for Coach Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
Brooks Gymnasium.
Yeah,
I was, I guess about 10 or 12 when they were building the dome. And I remember going through with a hard hat, checking it out. But man, that's amazing.
It's amazing that we have that same school in common.
So let me ask you this. Going back to the farm days.
Yes.
I know one of the things that I remember, I realized I didn't want to do that. I told my dad, Dad, I love you, but, baling hay, for example, you would think you're in the middle of, August, it's 90 degrees. You'd think shorts and no shirt. No, you're long pants, long shirt.
Yeah.
What do you recall from those days that either maybe you still use today, or even if it's on your roughest days, you're like, well, I could be slopping the hogs or whatever, anything come to mind?
Oh, yeah. I just know that I don't want to go back to that way of living. I appreciate farmers. I appreciate farm life. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't eat. But slopping the pigs before I went to school each morning, or
early,
or baling hay. My allergies were so bad as a child, and still are, that sometimes I would be up all night, not able to breathe after baling hay. And so my mom was she was my rescue person who said, he's not going to do that anymore. So she and my grandmother taught me how to cook instead of me being out on the farm most of the time.
Okay.
So we did the garden and the cooking. And that was, it was a good upbringing. I learned a lot from them. but I don't want to go back to that way of living.
So let me ask you this: when you were, and we kind of go back and forth. The first part's our history and kind of what will put us together, and then get into professional stuff. But let's park on that teaching piece because that's important.
Okay. Sure.
And I know I can't tell you how many times I've just seen you out, or people go, "Oh man, yeah, Dwight, he was my favorite teacher," or something like that. What point do you remember? Because you said pre-med. So was there a pivot point that you felt like I want to teach? What do you remember when that was?
Well, yeah, I always wanted to teach.
Okay.
Even from a young child, I would play school and I would be the teacher, and I would have my pets, be my students. So I got to the point that I guess greed set in, and I always thought being a doctor was what I needed to do to make the money that I wanted to make. And I realized that that's not what I really, really wanted to do. I wasn't passionate about becoming a physician, but I was passionate about teaching. So that's why I switched over and did where my heart led me instead of where my mind and my greed was leading me.
Okay. So when you started Gray, which is a school that you came up in.
Yes. Then moved to Alcoa. Bud Helton hired me in Alcoa. Taught second grade, took Polly Hicks' place when she left Alcoa Elementary School. And I worked with Virginia Campbell and Willie McNear and Pat DeLozier.
Now, Bud was that same as WC?
Yes.
Okay, so I got a funny story for you.
Okay.
So there was a, God rest her soul, Miss Kennedy.
Oh, yeah, Bernice.
When I would get in trouble, me and David McCollum.
Yeah.
Say, David McCollum, I'll take you out of this classroom just like I did W.C. Helton's little boy, and it didn't hurt me none. So I hadn't hurt. So Bud Helton and W.C. the same.
Same person. And Bernice Kennedy was my favorite substitute teacher because if I woke up sick, I could call her 30 minutes before school started.
And she's there.
And she would be there. And the kids were scared to death of her. She made you toe the mark.
I remember. Do you remember David McCollum? You remember
I don't.
that thing?
That doesn't
Dear
ring a bell.
friend of mine. Shout out to my buddy David. But Miss Kennedy was pretty slick too.
Oh, very.
And she had a way to, I don't know, throwing her voice like a ventriloquist or what. But David, David thought that she was over here. Well, she's right behind him and pulled the. Of course, you'd get in trouble nowadays, but she had the ruler.
Yeah, smacked him.
Oh, popped him like you read about,
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I'm sure there was a point, whether it was Gray or Alcoa, do you remember a point in time where you had confirmation, like, I knew this is my calling? Like, do you remember a moment? Was it a class? Was it a kid that you impacted? Do you remember something that?
First year I taught, Lauren, there were so many needy kids. I taught in a very poor area. Gray at that time was rural. A lot of kids came from homes without running water, homes without enough food. Food is near and dear to my heart. So I always kept snacks in the classroom. I instituted in my classroom a morning snack time that they could bring something, or I would bring it for them. They loved that, and some of them still talk to me today when I meet them on the street about our morning snack times where we would just sit around and talk about whatever they wanted to talk about, take 15 minutes out and have a snack. Because many of them hadn't had breakfast. These were the days before free breakfast.
That's awesome,
I knew I was in the right place the first year I taught.
That's awesome. So if we close it, closing out our first segment, of course, second segment is going to be talking about that phenomenal real estate impact that you've had and how you help people. I do want to touch on your passion for the food bank. I think that's just a wonderful thing.
I just came from there.
Well, I want a two-part thing, and then we'll go to another segment. Talk about how the food bank came about. Okay. Right? Let's talk about that, and then let's talk about what was the first time that real estate got on your radar.
Okay. Well, the food bank, Community Food Connection, is the food bank here for Blount County.
Okay.
And we serve right at 4,000 people a month who have food insufficiency, is what we call it. They don't have enough food. Their income, their food stamps, whatever, doesn't carry them for a whole month for the size of their family. So we have an all volunteer organization. We don't get any money from the government, so to speak. We do get some free food from USDA, but no money. Our money
Right.
all comes from local donations. Our food and money comes from Arconic, from Walmart, from various Food City, even Starbucks, places that you wouldn't think of that donate to our food bank. And we're open Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and different hours each day. But you can come and shop for your family, and it's all free. And that's just a passion of mine to work there, make sure we have enough food. I have 2 shut-ins that I help. So that's why I was at the food bank today, to get their food and deliver it to them. We don't offer that service officially because we don't have enough volunteer help to do it. But, if we did, that would be a great ministry that we could do.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And in a way that ties back to that original time with the kids in Gray.
Yeah. I'm telling you, food is a love of mine, so I don't want to see anybody go hungry.
That's awesome.
If anybody cares to donate food or money, we're always open to accepting that.
That's awesome. Now, if folks want to get more information about
Yes.
that, how can they get more information about
Well, you can go to CFC, which stands for Community Food Connection, cfcblunt.com. And that'll tell you all about our mission, who's on the board, how they can donate, how they can volunteer. That's the website to go to,
That's awesome.
cfcblunt.com.
That's awesome. And closes out this first segment. When did real estate?
I think it was 1989. My wife and I decided we wanted to build a house. We had always been apartment and condo dwellers. And we met this great lady named Shelby Whitehead. Her husband, Ervil, was a car salesman out on the Motor Mile, and she was a contractor, which is very unusual in that day for a woman
Absolutely.
to be a general contractor. And she walked us through building our first house and taught us that we could do that on our own. So our second house we built on our own, still used a general contractor, but we guided the process, picked everything, and both my wife and we just loved working with real estate, developing land, building houses, remodeling houses. And I got the bug, and a local real estate broker gave me the opportunity to come and work for her while I was teaching. So I started working in 1995 with a firm called Better Homes and Gardens. Doesn't exist in this area anymore. But I gave up teaching in 96 to do real estate full time because I wanted to be able to help my children not to have to worry about a car and college, those two things. I wanted to provide that for them. And I knew I couldn't do it on a teacher's salary.
Right.
So, and I'm still fighting that battle behind the scenes for teachers who need higher pay. They do an amazing job in the classroom. They touch lives.
Yes.
Their influence never stops with those children, and they don't get paid enough, city commissioners.
Yeah, exactly. I can definitely piggyback on that with Dwight. My father, Jim Riddick, coach and teacher for 30, 40 years in Blount County and Alcoa for a very short time. And God bless our teachers. Man, that is a great first segment. We thank you guys so much, and we'll be back. I'm so excited to bring to you our Homes and Loans podcast series. It's something near and dear to my heart. I know it's going to make a positive impact in your life and someone that you know and care about. I encourage you to share this series with anyone that fits that description. I had the vision of bringing together like-minded people that are positive, that are forced for good, not evil, in different industries, different arenas of business, whether it's educators, entrepreneurs, attorneys, CPAs, financial planners, real estate professionals, and of course, mortgage professionals and beyond. This is just an amazing series. It's going to make a difference. And the idea is that we bring these folks together so that you can enjoy it and get something out of it. And we have 3 basic segments in our format. The first segment is where someone's from. Where were they born, and maybe some childhood memories that they carry to this day. Number 2, their business, how you might be able to reach them, maybe some tips and tricks that
gives you a glimpse behind the curtain in what they do that can help you, and of course how you reach them. And the third I'm really excited about because that's where the gold nuggets come in. Those nuggets that we all call on to get through adversity. You know, we all face adversity, and we always ask the question, hey, how do you balance your professional and personal life? And we even ask a question, who would you have coffee with? You know, some historical figure. But the main crux of it is, how do we get through adversity? How do you look at the glass half full and not half empty? And so many other things. So we encourage you to share this. You can go to Homes&LoansPodcast.com. That's A-N-D spelled out. Homes&LoansPodcast.com. And you can see the whole series. Man, we hope you enjoy it. Share this with someone you care about. It's going to be great.
Hey folks, Lauren Reddy back with my dear friend and partner Dwight Price, and we're making a difference through collaboration, and who better to bring in to talk about something like that than this fella. So Dwight, maybe, man, like I say, arguably, like I say, I've had the pleasure of working with folks all around the country, and I can tell you that you're probably gonna get mad at me when this is off air, but you set a benchmark extremely high, and there's never been an agent that I walked away from going, wow, that's the best agent I've ever met, because I feel like that's you. And
I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
And I mean that. So, but there's so much stuff we could talk about in a few minutes. But what comes to mind that you think would be great to maybe share with the audience of some insight to real estate? I know there's some conversations, the hot topic about real estate commissions, and there's also everybody thinks they can for sale by owner and do just as, you know, the whole gamut. So, man, you take the lead, my friend.
Well, I believe in the real estate industry, and I believe in working with good agents, with professional agents who can help you achieve your goal of selling your house or buying a house. I don't think the human element will ever come out of real estate. You can get all the information you want many times from Zillow, from Realtor.com, from your mortgage lender, whomever, but you need that human touch to help you when it comes time to sell your house or buy a house. And that's why I think realtors will always be needed.
Yes.
For sale by owners, I'll talk to you for just a minute and tell you that that's something you're always welcome to try. I don't think that you have the tools, the experience, and the professional knowledge to do the best job at selling your house when you do for sale by owner. We have connections and materials and scripts and advertising strategies that you don't have access to. The multiple listing service is the biggest thing that we have that is somewhat available to for sale by owner people, but you're going to have to pay for it to get in with those flat fee companies. So I would recommend that you always interview 2 or 3 agents, find out if you're comfortable working with them and selling your house. And then if you're convinced to do a for sale by owner, be sure that you offer a buyer's agent a commission. I've been to many for sale by owners who've said, I'm selling on my own, I'm not paying an agent, you're welcome to show my house, but you're doing it for free. Well, we don't show that house. So, you know, we're not in this just for fun and games. We are in it to help people achieve their goals, but we have to feed our families too.
That's right. That's right. Any couple of good questions that are good to ask when folks are interviewing those agents?
Absolutely. They need to ask them to see a marketing plan. What are you going to do to market my house? I would dare to say many agents would stutter over that question because they don't have a marketing plan. It needs to be in writing. It needs to be one they can go over with you, explain each step of that plan, how it's going to play out, how they're going to make your house shine in the marketplace, that people can find it, they can see it, they can buy it, they can negotiate. And then also ask about that agent's past. Well, how many homes did you sell this year? You know, if an agent says, well, I only sold 1 home this year, that may not be the agent for you. I know everybody has a starting point, and everybody does have a year that they may only sell 10 or 15 houses, but find out who they're working with. I know when my agents are interviewed, they always let them know they're working with and alongside me. So the two of us together, any agent in my office and I will go together on the listing appointment, and that adds a little bit of clout to have me there with them.
Mr. Price, that adds a lot. I know you're going to be, again, probably on to me when we finish this.
We will.
But are you comfortable sharing about what makes you number one as far as how many numbers are you doing a year about?
Yeah, numbers are good and always have been. I'll tell you
it's public record, but
it's public record. And anytime I'm on a listing appointment, if somebody wants to see the numbers, I'll share those with them. I don't carry those around. That's not what makes me a good agent. I think the service that I provide to my clients and the true caring for them and wanting them to achieve their goals, that's what I try to present to them.
It's well more than 10 or 15 a year.
It's well more than 10 or 15 a year. I usually approach 200 sales a year.
Man, that's a lot of families you're helping.
That's a lot of families. That's a lot of trips to the closing table, and I love every one of them. My goal has always been to be able to say that I sell a house a day. Now, whether I'll ever get to 365 houses a year or not, I don't know. But that's the goal out there that I work toward every year.
That's awesome, man.
So I can say I'm a little over halfway there.
Well, now I know one thing that I want to know from you, my friend. How do you balance, or how do you try to balance personal and professional when you're doing that kind of numbers and you're putting yourself out there trying to help everybody? Is there anything that you lean back on that helps you balance that a little bit?
That's why I have the team approach, Lauren. There are 10 of us who work together. We're growing to 12 next week, 2 new agents coming in to join us. But the 12 of us work together. And for example, this next week, I'm going with some friends to Florida for 5 days just to relax and recharge and see people that I haven't seen for a while who live in the Miami area where I'm going.
Okay.
So my team can take care of everything while I'm gone. The only thing is missing is that personal connection with me, that they can handle a listing appointment, they can handle a buyer's consultation, they can attend a closing for me, they can take my calls. I'll be back in 5 days.
Yes. Yes.
So people sometimes get bent out of shape when I don't answer the phone or when I'm not available to come to their house, but it's always a temporary absence.
That's awesome.
So balancing personal and professional, you have to use those people around you to their benefit. They're going to make money. They're going to meet new people that they wouldn't meet maybe if I was here. So it's good for them and good for me.
That's good, buddy. That's good. Well, obviously in the news, you touched on it earlier, how you got a FSBO, off from a buyer's commission. You hear this commission stuff, at least from a 40,000 foot flyover for the novice person that's, seeing that pop up on their AOL feed every day or Google feed. What's your take on what's coming down the pike that you guys are dealing with there?
Sure. Huge lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors from some sellers who felt like they didn't know how their commission was determined and why it was what it was and why some of it paid the buyer's agent's fee as well. So many of you know we've always had a rate of commission 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever the commission rate has always been negotiable. And sellers just maybe haven't been educated enough on the fact that it's negotiable. They also need to be educated on knowing that part of that commission goes to their listing agent who represents them and advertises that property. The other half of the commission goes to the buyer's agent or agency. So sellers are starting to think, well, why are we paying for the buyer's representation? Well, why you're doing that is because you want every buyer to come and see your house. And to do that, you have to pay buyer's agents to bring those buyers to see your house.
Right.
If your house is listed, Lauren, you want every possible buyer to come and see it and consider it as being the one for them. So some sellers are saying, well, we'll pay half of the commission for our agent, but let the buyer worry about their agent. The reality is, and in the lending world, a lot of buyers couldn't afford
Right.
down payment, closing costs, and a buyer's agent's commission.
That's
They
right.
would just be out of the housing market.
Right.
So it's real important that sellers are understanding and they price their house accordingly to include enough commission for both agents.
That's awesome, man. Well, what, guys, again, you just got a small taste of why Mr. Price and his team are second to none. How can folks reach you, Dwight, if they're out there? And we got so many people collaborating. Where they have a buyer agent, they want to sell their home, they need some good insight at the right price.
At Dwight Price.
So look and tell them how they can reach you.
Well, the easiest way is just to remember 888 sold. And you put 865 in front of that, and that's going to get me or one of my team members every time. So 888 sold, remember that one. And then my website is dwightprice.com. Couldn't be any simpler. And you will get a response back same day.
Man, awesome. We will see y'all in the last segment in a moment. This has been amazing, man.
Yeah,
Thank
it has. It's been wonderful.
Awesome.
Hey, folks, I just want to take a moment and thank you for looking at our podcast. I hope you're enjoying it. We truly have enjoyed putting it together for you. And I want to take just a moment to talk about the Lauren Riddick team, Homes and Loans. My mortgage practice has been going around for over 25 years at the time that we're putting this together. And I'm so proud of that. We've been able to help clients and referral partners all over the country. Texas, California, Colorado, Washington State, Florida, everywhere in between. And of course, our beloved home here in the East Tennessee Smoky Mountains area. I love helping our clients. Whether it's a home or a loan, we'd love to help you. Now, my mortgage practice specializes in traditional forward lending, whether you need VA, FHA, rural development, conventional, we absolutely can help you. But I want to take a moment to talk about something near and dear to my heart, the often misunderstood, wildly popular home equity conversion mortgage, reverse mortgage. Now that's available for folks that are 62 years or better, for yourself or someone that you know that you care about that needs to know about this amazing program. Whether you want to use it as a leverage point to give warm-handed gifts instead of cold-handed gifts, live more independently, and make sure that you're not burdening your family, or just put together a line of access that you can use for down the road that has unbelievable benefits. Love to share with you more about this amazing program. And just in short, how cool would it be to have an optional payment that did not have to get paid back until up to 1 year after you pass away, or up to 150 years of age? Be pretty cool. Therefore, letting the house owe the debt and not you. It's been over 1 million facilitated since Ronald Reagan got behind it in the late 80s, including my beloved parents, Jim and Edna Riddick. Hey, if you want to know more, go to reversewisdom.com. That's reversewisdom.com. There's a lot of good information. Or just reach out. We'd love to share more about this amazing program or some of our more traditional mortgage products. Of course, real estate as well through my lovely wife, Missy.
Well, folks, listen, we're closing our final segment with Dwight Price, and man, we've had a lot of fun already, right?
It's been great.
It's been awesome, and easily one of our best, probably our best podcasts. We're excited about having this show today, and again, you can see them all at homesandloanspodcast.com, and we're just glad to make a difference through collaboration, a positive difference. And the last segment I love because it's about mindset, Dwight. No matter how successful, folks will look at someone successful. Oh, well, they don't have any problems. They have no adversity, things of that nature. There's always something that helps us push through that, right? So I want to hit you with that. But before I do, obviously you've made an unbelievable impact through your teaching from Gray to Alcoa.
Yes.
The food bank and what you're doing with that. How many lives have you touched in real estate? Countless. Just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. What? All of us have appointed time when we're going to leave this earth. What do you want your legacy to be? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I think about that often. As we get older, I'm older than you.
More
Lauren.
vintage, not older, vintage.
Vintage. I am more vintage than you. I often think about that. How will people remember me? And I would like for them to say, you know, he looked at me as an equal, and he was always willing to help. Those are two things that are real important to me. I raised two beautiful children, and I always taught them, you are no better than anyone else. You're no lesser than anyone else. And help anybody that you can along the way. I think that's real important. Whether they need food, they need a little extra cash, they need somebody to listen to them, pray with them, talk to them.
Encouragement, whatever, right?
Whatever. You should take time out of your day and help other people.
Well, you definitely have that, my friend, and I know we continue to strive, until our race is done, right?
Until our race is done.
So,
but that charges me.
Yes.
That makes me feel good all over to help somebody. When I delivered groceries this afternoon, that wasn't a major thing. That's something that nobody would have known about had I not been here on your podcast, but it just filled my heart, and it blessed the lady who received the food. And she cries every time I come because she needs it so badly. And my mother used to take care of her before my mother passed away. And I kind of took over where my mom left off.
oh man,
Mom was a helper like I am.
so you get to honor mom as well.
That's right.
So when you think about, adversity comes our way, right? They say the road to success leads right through the dump or whatever we have to deal with. What do you call on anything in particular? Maybe from those farming days in Gray, or does anything come to mind that helps push you through that?
The only thing that I can think of, Lauren, is how my parents always pushed through. They had a family income of $25,000 a year when I was growing up, and however they did it, they made house payment, car payment, food, piano lessons for me, driving me to activities, and they made it work. And when they had adversity, because a lot of their income came from the farm, selling tobacco, for example, some years tobacco prices were really down, and that cut a huge hole in our budget. But that didn't mean we didn't plant tobacco again the next year. We pressed on, and we kept doing what we knew we needed to do. We bought more cows the next year when tobacco was bad, so that we could sell more beef.
Okay.
So, my parents, if anything, instilled in me a positive work ethic and that drive to keep on trying.
Any when you think of mentors that either instilled some things in you, or that continue to do that, or maybe even a good book or two that really had an impact on anything that comes to mind there?
Probably my best mentor was my grandmother on my mom's side. Her name was Lula Bell.
That's what I call my Lucy.
Did you call her Lula?
Call her Lula.
Oh, you've got a beautiful Lula. She is
Yes.
she is a doll. My Lula Bell grandmother, she's the first one who taught me how important it is to help others. We would actually go to shut-ins homes when I was a child, and we would clean their houses just to help them. Or she would bake a pie, and we would take it to a family that she knew needed it and would appreciate it. So I think I got that mindset of helping others from her, and it has carried on. I never have a week that goes by that I don't think of that lady.
That's awesome, man. Well, before I hit you with one of my favorite questions, which is, any historical figure that you could have coffee with, right? Have a conversation with. Before I do that, now that's going to be number 2.
Yeah, save that one and give me a minute
I'm going to give you
about
another
it.
minute. Is there any question that I haven't asked you that I should have?
Family. My parents are both deceased. They were very important in my life. My grandparents are gone because I'm vintage, So had 2 wonderful children. Sarah is in the real estate business in Maryville. She owns the Price Agency and is doing great. And then I had a son named Seth who passed away about a year ago, and we miss him terribly. So I want people to know what a positive influence those 2 people have been in my life. Seth taught me lessons that nobody else could have taught me. He was a unique individual. Sarah and I are kind of made out of the same mold, and we do great together. I don't know that we teach each other as much as Seth taught me, but Sarah and I do have fun together.
And how cool was that to be able to teach your kids how to fish, right, so to speak, and bring them into your business, and then see them respectively both very successful, what they did to be able to show them how to do that. That's got to be a priceless feeling.
It is a priceless feeling. It is a priceless feeling.
What do you think, man? Who would you like to have that coffee with?
Well, you know,
there's no wrong or right answer.
I know there's no wrong or right answer, but one person that I've admired so much is Barack Obama. He dealt with so much adversity during his 8 years in office. So regardless of your politics, just keep in mind from his birth certificate on, he dealt with people hammering him on a daily basis that he wasn't maybe good enough to be president, or he wasn't in the right place at the right time. And of course, I believe he did great things for our country, and I think he pressed on. You never saw him rattled or shaken when people were...
Nice little jump shot, too.
He did have a nice little jump shot.
Nice little jump shot.
Almost as good as yours.
Well, I don't know, man.
But, you know, I think it would be great. And maybe that'll happen someday, that I'll have the opportunity to say hello to him in person. That would be a real treat for me.
Well, Dwight, man, this has been awesome.
Yeah.
I truly love you, my friend. I thank you for all you've done for our community and the children, and just continue to do it. And again, folks, you couldn't find a better fella. 865-888 sold SOLD, and DwightPrice.com, and like I said, I fully endorse this man 100%. And Dwight's been great.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you. Love you, man.
Yes, sir. Love you.
Years. I've had my reverse wisdom for about 8 months. Wisdom for 12 years.
12 years.
My reverse wisdom for 3 months.
I've had my reverse wisdom for 4 months.
I guess Lauren about 5 months.
I think it was 2013 or 2014. That'd be what, 11 years?
Yeah,
12 years?
11 years, but Bev, how long have you had your reverse wisdom?
2 years, I think.
Hi, I've had my reverse wisdom for 1 year.
Mine for 10 years.
Reverse wisdom for 5 years.
Hi, we're Bev and Fred Wagner. We came to Tennessee about 17 years ago, and Lauren was our go-to guy. He was dependable. He was helpful. He fixed everything. He was awesome to us, and we have been with Lauren for 17 years. In the last couple of years, we realized that we could get involved with this reverse mortgage, and we've been very happy about it. With our extra money, just last year we celebrated our 50th anniversary and went to Alaska without the financial worry of it, and it's been awesome. And Lauren's been awesome. We love them. So we encourage you to all come aboard.
Okay, I'm Jerry St. Clair. I've had a reverse for about 10 years, me and my wife Mercy. It was one of the best things we ever did. Lauren and his team are great to work with. We've been able to live in our dream house for all these years because of this reverse, and I would do it all over again. Thanks.